All In Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of biscuit and barbecue, lone stars and law. This is All In Sports, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back. In this episode, we will be discussing the ins and outs of the Pro Bowl, or the Manning Brothers Bowl, or the Super Bowl bye week, or the Professional Football Field Day, or whatever you want to call it. We'll give our take on that. So, let's go. All in Colts.
That's correct. I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam. We're the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yep. It is a technical game recap, so we do have a narrative. That being, the NFC absolutely dominated the Pro Bowl games, taking a 14-7 lead after the first day, winning the relay and dodgeball.
Right. In the flag football game, the NFC jumped out to an early lead and never really looked back.
Nah, the AFC tried to make a comeback, but a fourth quarter pick six by Byron Murphy sealed an NFC victory.
Yep. A Jackson Smith and Jigba pick six, I believe, that he threw, made it closer than it would seem with the final score of 76-63. So there you go.
Yeah.
You have a Mayflower move?
It's early on in the game, but yeah.
Right.
And I feel like I'm not treating it as like a thing that like, oh, this changed the game. I'm treating it maybe my favorite play.
Okay.
I have two. One was the Hughes check touchdown, which I believe was the first touchdown of the game.
Okay.
And then the next one was, or I guess I have two more. I guess.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield. Baker was having so much fun, and I enjoyed watching him. He went and he faked it one way, and then he hit like a jump and like a sidearm throw right through a gap and nailed, I believe it was Kittle or McBride, one of the two. And I was like, just shows how athletic these guys actually are without pads. And then another one was, I don't remember who threw it, but it was a bomb to Jamar Chase. He caught it in coverage and then got a touchdown off of it. And I just want to point out, can the AFC have the NFC jerseys next year, please? Because those whites were boring, and the NFC colorfuls were awesome. That reminded me of the helmets that they used to do for the actual Pro Bowl.
Like they used to do?
Yeah.
We might get to that in a second. Hold that thought for the history. I hear what you're saying. Maybe a little bit more like blue and red like they used to, something like that. But then they don't have helmets, so what do? Maybe different colored bucket hats? Because that seemed to be a popular look. Just, different options. You said you had one more. Oh, that was your third one. Gotcha. My Mayflower move, I am going to go with a traditional game changer. It seemed possible. As Colts fans, I was rooting for the AFC. It seemed possible they could make a comeback and do their thing until Byron Murphy had this pick six, and that kind of put it away. So, So that's mine. Who's your star of the game?
Tough. This I am treating like if I didn't treat it like a personal star, if I was just who was my favorite player, it was JT, but he didn't do much.
Nope.
So I'd say I have two. I'm gonna go an AFC person and an NFC person.
Okay.
I think the person who impacted the most on the NFC, the announcers mentioned it. Jason Kelce personally mentioned it. Which, by the way, I love that he was on the broadcast. He was a lot of fun to listen to. Was Turpin. I forget his first name, but he was providing a lot of blitzes for the NFC and stuff like that, getting into the quarterbacks, sacked him a couple of times. And then on the AFC side, I think I'd have to go Brian Thomas Jr. because he played really, really well. He had multiple touchdowns, big plays, all that stuff.
All right. I'll give you two, one on each side as well. even though there wasn't a lot of scoring, there was just a lot of energy from Justin Jefferson.
Yep, makes sense.
And then on the AFC side, his counterpart, Jamar Chase. Shout out to
LSU.
all 4 LSU wide receivers represented, scored like what? Because Chase scored 3, the 2 rookies scored 2 each, and
JJ got
Justin's got 1. So what's that? Quick math: 5, 7, 8. 8 total touchdowns from those 4 receivers.
That's half of the touchdowns scored in. That's crazy.
Right.
LSU.
Yep. LSU receivers. Remember that in a week or so whenever we start talking about draft.
Yes.
There may be a few that are out there. And I believe all those guys are actually from Louisiana as well. Not just go to the university, but there's something down in that bayou water and that crawfish that's a little different.
Yes.
Also, I have to go back and shout out the AFC who did the double pass, incorporated the double pass possibility rule in flag football. Do you have that in your flag football in college? You can do the double pass.
It's co-ed, so there's a ton of other. If you're a guy and you pass it backwards to a girl, the girl can throw it, but the guy can't.
There were 2 forwards passes. You can do 2 forward passes in this flag football. Yeah.
So you can throw 40 yards down the field, catch it, and then throw more?
No. You can do 2 forward passes behind the line of scrimmage.
Oh.
So as long as you remain behind the line of scrimmage,
that's not a rule. You have to. It has to be backwards.
Okay. Well, in this, because I saw it also in something else that I'll probably mention a little bit, the high school girls football, flag football. Backing up then just a little bit before we head into that, I have a question. We kind of discuss this every year with our Pro Bowl episode. Is this the Pro Bowl format answer?
The flag football or everything?
I'll just say everything.
Everything.
Okay. Meaning the history that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about the history?
I'll kind of talk about a mixture of both because I have opinions on both things.
Okay, go for it.
One, I'm gonna just lay out the history part first because it's not as, I guess, controversial. I should say.
Sure. History is history.
Exactly. I think playing with pads is what football is, right? That's true football. Hitting people is true football. You have a whole off season to recover. Yeah, could be ACL tear, Achilles tear, and all that. If you're worried about that, don't play in the Pro Bowl. People didn't play in the Pro Bowl this year, and that's how we had Russell Wilson and Drake May, which, by the way, sucked because all 3 of the NFC quarterbacks could do everything at the top level. And I know why Josh couldn't do it because of his hand. But then Lamar just didn't. So it's tough because the Pro Bowl is the way it is. You don't want to get hurt, but like you need to put something, which brings me to the nowadays. I like the little games and stuff. I think those are fun. I think maybe you keep those, bring it back to padded football. Although I really like the flag football aspect as well. I think the players have a ton of fun playing. I can tell that. It doesn't mean anything. You're just playing football. It's just fun. Offensive players gets to play defense and vice versa, that type of stuff. I think, one, there should be something behind it so the players try harder. But at the end of the day, it's still just the Pro Bowl. So have fun if you lose. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. I think I discussed it with other people. I think maybe you have to get this years in advance. But like whoever wins the Pro Bowl gets the home field location of the Super Bowl. So like if AFC wins, it's in an AFC stadium or in the division or something like that. So it's geographically close. I mean,
It's a
unless
lot
you,
of logistical planning
I
compared to
get
what
that,
it currently is. Yeah.
but it's $1 billion company. You gotta be able to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
So that, so there should be something behind it, so the guys try, but don't, like I don't know, but not too much. Then it's like a real football game, and they're not having fun, because we like to watch them have fun.
Yeah.
So that, and I think also they should they should not just play backyard football, and they should actually, run flag football plays, because that type of stuff is awesome. Like flag football is really, really fun to watch. So
I like it. That's a great segue. So I'm not even going to talk about. I may come back and revisit, but you did so well with the segue that my next question is, what is the place of flag football moving forward? It's now made the Olympics.
yes, it is a
And-
professional sport. I don't know if the league is that big necessarily,
Yeah.
but it is a professional sport on some levels. Some adult leagues just,
Right.
it's professional because you get paid if you do well or whatever.
Because,
Um,
okay, to your point, I'll just jump in here.
Okay.
To your point, I watched the high school girls flag football beforehand, and that was so much more entertaining and creative and different in a good way than what we saw with the NFL players, because the NFL players just went out and played NFL football. There were no sprint outs, pitch backs, double passes, except for that one. There was no exploitation of the different rules. It was, there was a quarterback and everybody ran routes, different kinds of routes. And
I think
you could see not much opened up within that. So tighter windows, different things that could have been open, but I watched the high school girls football. I told you about this play. They had two backs, like you might see a typical kind of pistol formation, hiked it to the up back, who sprinted out in like a triple option. And then as the defense gravitated toward her, pitched it back to the back that was sprinting out with her. As the defense came to her, down to a crosser for a touchdown. So much more.
I saw another
and creativity.
I saw another play as well where a girl got the snap, ran this way, and there was another girl coming this way, tossed it to her. She ran, acted like she was going to run. I don't remember if she actually ran it in or if she threw it in, but it was still creativity.
Right. Yeah.
And I think you were talking about how it was more fun to watch. I think that type of stuff is more fun to watch because, one, I don't remember if you know this, but it was a showcase. It was a showcase at a very high level, obviously.
Yep.
So, one, they're just going out there and having fun and just playing football.
Yep.
But two, they also had an intent behind it because you put yourself out there for maybe the Olympics team or something like that.
Yep. Now I'll revisit the Pro Bowl and what it was, what it is. I think the disappointing thing to me is the Pro Bowl has lost something, and that is all of the stars, like the stars, going out to Hawaii for an entire week, just about playing these games, just kind of casual, like you would in your backyard, throwing at targets, seeing how far we can throw it, doing some different instead of now. I'm not saying that that's the answer. I'm just saying like that was kind of the vibe. I do agree that the mini game kind of thing lends itself to like more of a newer generation and things like that, with more of a the mini game kind of video game kind of feel to it. That all kind of factor into that. But then the game itself was still a football game, and you still had all of the stars. And when you have people opting out because they don't want to get hurt, now all of a sudden you essentially have has-been players and up-and-coming rookies. I won't say that's all that there was there, because there were stars there, but you have those bookends that you wouldn't normally have at a Pro Bowl. At Pro Bowl, you have the 5-time, 6-time Pro Bowl players that you're used to kind of seeing. You get Peyton Manning and Ray Lewis, year after year, coming and hanging out. These people that you see clash on the football field on a regular basis, coming and hanging out and just kind of playing a friendly game, still hitting, still actually playing football, but it's a little bit more friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the NBA All-Star game where no one's playing defense, or there's special rules incorporated to keep people safe and things like that. I don't know that there's a perfect place for any of that. I don't know. I don't know the answer. And apparently neither does hardly anyone else. And that's why we're here. But I'll bring up one other thing that we talked about. Something that is near and dear to our hearts. Where is a possible 6-man football fit in here?
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming that our listeners don't hardly know anything about 6-man football. So let's see. I'll give a quick rundown. You have to go 15 yards for a first down. It's a shorter field, 80 yards instead of 100. It's narrower by
10 yards.
10 yards. Okay.
Yeah. So 5 each side.
5 each side. And then your touchdowns are 6, but when you get an extra point, it's worth 2. And if you go for 2, it's worth 1, because typically 6-man is smaller teams, and so you don't normally have a dedicated kicker. And so
it's easier to score. It's more high scoring games.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm kind of taking over with the rules.
More
here.
space because you only have 6 people.
Because
right?
It's you're getting rid of 5 people.
Yep.
But only 5 yards.
Yep.
So on each side. So in all reality, that doesn't add up. So you have less people for more space, basically. So you have all this space, so it's higher scoring. There's a mercy rule. If you 45 someone by half, so if it's halftime, you're up by 45, the game's over. Anytime you get above 45 after halftime, the game's over.
Yep.
But back to, like you said, about the kicker, like the reason why it's so much is because there's smaller teams. So, and it's high school. There's no 6-man in college. So it's all high school football. So like these guys aren't developed. You can't go out and recruit people. Right. It's just whoever you have at your high school. So you don't have developed kickers. I mean, lucky enough, you're kicked, so it's different. But but you don't get that.
You're looking for a unique player like you who can run the ball, can throw the ball, can kick the ball. You're kind of recruiting those pass, punt, and kick people who can do multiple things because they become a good resource. But not every place has that. And so 2 points for an extra point. A field goal is worth 4 points.
Yes.
Because it's the same kind of thing.
And the quarterback cannot run the ball unless it is handed off to him or pitched to him. Which is I actually like that rule a lot.
Right. Well, especially when you have more space, it limits you to do something.
Exactly.
But then off of that, there are different formations and pitches and different interchanges that happen on a regular basis that don't happen. Where you would be in a pistol formation and hike it to your running back that then pitches it to your quarterback that's behind them. You know,
or you
different
have a
things.
snapper,
Right.
Or a center, I should say, that can snap it to either
And-
to the right guy or the left guy.
Right. And the snapper can also
Catch passes. Everyone is an eligible receiver.
Yes.
What else? And the type of player you're looking for is not necessarily position specific. You look
No.
for the type of players that you want on your team, which isn't necessarily strength all the time. Like
No.
I'm not the strongest guy, but like I'm fast. So you look for more speedy players. Players like Tyreek Hill would thrive in six-man football.
Yeah.
Like just those type of players that are fast but can shake off a tackle or two if need be. You know, that type of stuff. So
Yeah. You're looking for not just strength, some strength, obviously, because you're still in pads. It's still padded football, but you're looking for almost like Canadian football, where you have people who can do things in space, man. If you can shake a guy in space, if you can tackle a guy in space, both of those are very good skills to have when you're six-man. And there's a lot of space. And so there's not the team tackling is more challenging in six-man because there's so many different things and so many space. So then my proposition to you was USFL struggling. XFL and USFL had to combine for a spring league. Instead of trying to recreate 11-man football in the spring, why don't you do something a little bit different and do some six-man?
I like it. I think
I mean, flag football to the Olympics, NFL for what it is. Let's do something different in spring football.
yeah, I like that a lot. It might be something I strive for. I don't know. I think it's definitely a smart idea because you also have something like arena football, which is kind of like six-man, but like the rules are different.
Yeah.
So I think that six-man is kind of a good blend between 11-man normal NFL football versus arena football, which I think arena is like summertime or something like that.
Yep.
And so then you have six-man in the spring. So I don't know. You could see unique opportunities for 11-man players to like not as well known 11-man players to go play six-man, kind of find their skills and all that and stuff like, and then be able to move up in 11-man because they have more playing time or just completely switch over to six-man because they enjoy it more or whatever. It just creates a unique opportunity for a different fan base of football.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is could be a great place.
I like it. I like that idea.
But like the football, like the flag football, a lot of opportunities there as it comes into the Olympics and stuff like that. So it's going to be great to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that is it. Season where we will predict the winners of the NFL honors. Everything from Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, MVP, and of course the Super Bowl. Speaking of which, we will wrap up the week with our full definitive preview of the second straight Super Bowl rematches this year between the Chiefs and the Eagles.
Yep, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.